All right, in this video, a little exploration of one of my favorite topics, one of my favorite things to discuss, the green realm. The idea of otherness, the idea of other places, other realms, other realities, other levels of perception and existence. And in my practice, in the green art, and in most traditions of animism, in most visionary traditions, in most traditions where other than human, more than human persons are somehow interacted with, relationships are somehow formed, there is an idea that overlaps here of there being a space that is wholly and thoroughly other. And so before we dig, let me give you this meditation to kind of carry into the conversation with you, because we're really just going to go where we go today. And that is, we have very few direct and personal experiences of radical otherness in our life. Most of us sort of surround ourselves with familiarity, which is normal. That's like a very normal human thing to do, and it's very safe and very comforting and all of that. And we understand that there are relationships that we have with, other types of people, our companion animals, relationships with our houseplants, relationships with inanimate objects like a car or a house, right? We're in relationship with them as well. But when we get into the realms, the otherworld, the underworld, the realm of fairy, the green realm, we are engaging with something that is so totally different than anything that we have any sort of point of relation to, that it kind of requires us to wipe the slate clean and come into it just with this, in this really squishy, blank slate state. Even the most wildly other relationships that we have in our lives all still happen within our world, within our consensus reality, within our realm. They all kind of, play by the same rules that we play by every day. They're happening here on the same level. When we start moving into the realms of otherness, all that is gone. All that goes out the window. It breaks down. It's no longer relevant. So we'll use a lot of analogies. We'll use a lot of talking around things because it's a really hard thing to talk about. This is the reason why our practices, our paganisms, our sorceries, however you want to talk it, are so much about what we do, so much about the experience and the initiation, and so little about what we think. Because you cannot think your way around these topics. It's not possible. You can describe swimming to somebody. You can read all the books about swimming. You can describe the feeling of water, the sensation of floating, the sensation of being submerged to somebody all day long. Or you can just invite them into the water. And in that instant, there's an initiation. There's a breaking open. There's a revelation that is personal and sensual and multifaceted that tells them more in an instant than a lifetime of study could tell them. And so, this conversation too about the green realm is an invitation to get away from armchair paganism, to get away from armchair plant medicine work, armchair spirituality, and get out and do. Try, play, explore. So, that being said, otherness. Now we have this foundation of how completely, dramatically, radically different this realm is from our own. We can talk about it. So one of my favorite analogies as we enter into this conversation is that our world, the realm we inhabit, our consensus reality, all of the laws and the rules and the experiences and kind of just the way things work, the nature of the place that we live, floats like an island on an ocean of otherness. So this is not literal, okay? But what it does help us kind of grasp is an idea that we are supported by more than what we see. that the fullness of our experience in this world is not the whole story. It's not less than or more than any other story. It's just not the whole story. And one really important disclaimer about this discussion of the green realm is that we do not fetishize or exoticize the other world, the spiritual realm, even the realm inhabited by the deities. We don't allow ourselves to fall into the trap of thinking that somehow these realms are more than or better than or superior, because the minute we do that, we step into the format of the elitist religions and we enter into escapist spirituality, right? Suddenly, our spiritual practices become a means to get out of here, to end the illusion, to break the chain, to escape, to ascend, to transcend, and that's not what this is about. Animism, and especially our work with the plant spirits and the deities of nature and our blessed dead, are about full engagement with where we are. This is our home. This is where we go. This is where we belong. What's after this, what the next step is none of our business. It's all conjecture anyway, so why waste your time? It's poor energetic ecology to spin your tires trying to figure that out when most of us don't engage a fraction of a percent with what's happening now. So let's do that and enter into this conversation also with the awareness that the green realm is not superior. It's not better than. It's just different. So our world floats like an island in the ocean of spirit, in the ocean of the other world, along with many, many, many other islands. This is not a duality. It's not our world and the other world, period. It's our world and an infinite number of other realities and realms, all kind of being held on the ocean of spirit. Another way to look at this is that our world is strung like a bead on the thread of the spirit world. Okay, so it is underneath. It is underneath, not in a literal way, but in a way that the metabolism, the metabolic function of the body is underneath the warmth in your body. It is underneath in the way that the subconscious mind is underneath the conscious mind, okay? And more specific to our symbolism, it is underneath in the way that the root system of a tree is underneath the trunk, branches, leaves, flowers, fruits of the tree, right? So the green realm, the spirit world, the other world, exists as the root space, the place from which everything in our world emanates from, right? Just as the tree draws all of its nutrient, its nourishment, the water, and even its ability to hold itself up from the unseen, the hidden, the occult ground below, our world similarly draws all of the vital force, the crystallized wisdom, the inspiration, and the nature from the world below, from this unseen spirit world, the green realm. And so again, we have to talk around it because we don't really have anything that gets close to, in our world, to really giving us like a very clear example. So it's a lot of analogy and a lot of like pointing fingers, but not talking directly about it, which is very frustrating for some people, but also very fun for others. So hopefully it's fun for you. And so the main point that I want to deliver today about the green realm, amidst 1,000 points that we will talk about eventually, is this: that the green realm is the source of the vital force of our world. It is where life energy, right? The force of living is drawn from. All of the nourishment, all of the wisdom, all of the instinct comes from this realm, in the same way that all of those things are drawn up from the darkness through the roots of a tree and expressed through the above ground parts of the tree in our world, right? The tree will always show us, the plants will always show us through their symbolism how everything works. So, when we get lost, when we get confused, when we're not really sure what the hell's going on, we go sit in the presence of a tree and we we kind of contemplate how our question could plug into the symbol of the tree. And generally, we will be led to an answer. So the green realm is the source of all vitality and all virtue. Now, when we talk about the plant spirits in specific, they are rooted in this world and fruited in our world. They are beings with dual citizenship, which is something we try to cultivate as part of our work in the green art. We try to become dual citizens, which is one of the mysteries of our work. But the plants are by nature liminal beings. They cross the hedge, they cross the boundary that usually separates our world from the other world. And so they are rooted spiritually, existentially in the other world, and they grow up and manifest in our world. So they're holding two positions: roots in the other world, fruits in our world. Okay? Not on a diagonal, but this is just how I'm fitting it in the camera. So this is kind of going to show you why this is so important, because when we want to work with the deepest aspect of the plant spirits, we need to cultivate the art and the craft that allows us to travel into the green realm and interact with them there. This is where we go to the spirit of the plants. This is where we communicate with the plants as they are all gathered around the world tree, the sacred center, the pillar, the axis, the spine of the universe. And we connect with them in a way that transcends any limitations that we might put on the relationship in our world. Okay? So a huge part of our practice and a huge part of all animistic visionary traditions is the ability, the skill that allows us to pass from our world, crossing the hedge, into the other world. Dual citizenship, passport, a visa to the green realm. Another important thing here, and this is actually one of the deeper mysteries, but I'm going to give it to you because you can take it and roll with it, and maybe it will inspire you to go a little further, is that the green realm is an imaginal interface, okay? So when we travel by spirit flight, wort riding the tree, journeys of spirit into the other realm, the things that we encounter are real, but they are not literal. Meaning that the green realm is sort of a meeting place, an imaginal meeting place, using the faculties of our inner visionary powers, whereby the world we occupy and the world of spirit can come together and create a space where we can interact, okay? So it's not imagination, it's not make-believe, it's not pretend, but it is imaginal, it is visionary. We're sort of creating, through the projection of our spirit, a meeting place, a halfway point. And so your experience of the green realm may differ wildly from mine, but we will both come away from it with the same truth. Because again, the green realm is real, but it's not literal. Our travels there are not literal. What we experience there is speaking to us from within our own hearts, using our own symbolism. What you encounter during your travels by dream or by spirit flight in the green realm will be in a symbolic form that speaks directly to your heart, to your being. And the same for me. But when we come out of that, we can both share the spirit of the wisdom and the guidance and the mystery of what was given and find that we got the same truth. So this is one of the deep mysteries, the deep secrets of our spirit flight. And the green realm is what I call it because it allows us to center and focus and spotlight the plant spirits, the green realm. But ultimately, when we travel there, we are in fact dovetailing, interfacing, connecting with the full realm of spirit, and really anything is possible. We just choose to walk in with an imaginal interface that centers the plants, because that's who we ally ourselves to. Those are the verdant saints of our tradition. So, underneath everything that happens in our world is the vital force that is drawn up from the green realm, from the world of spirit. Every plant that we encounter has a secret. They have a self that exists in the spirit world and a self that exists in this world. as human beings, animals and insects as well. We're fully here. We're fully invested in this world. We exist here in body, mind, and spirit. The plants, not so much. Liminal beings. This is why all of our mystery traditions are so wrapped up in the plants, because by approaching them and by working with them, even just from our side of the hedge, we are in direct connection with the spirit realm by nature of them being liminal beings. Okay, so leaning up against, leaning your back up against a giant oak tree, you are on some level literally in connection to the other world. And this is why people experience revelation, realization, problem solving, healing in these moments, because they are tapping into the spirit world. They're tapping into the ocean that is the support for all other realms of being. And when it comes to the old, ancient, primordial deities, the old pagan gods, the original deities of the wildwood, they are also very much inhabitants of this space as protectors, as sovereign, as guides and guardians and stewards. And so we find that they end up becoming the ones who gift us or create the relationships with our strongest plant spirit allies. More on that in another class for sure. So the green realm, huge part of our practice, a core part of our practice, actually, we should say, is cultivating not only an awareness of this space and this being the cosmology of the universe, this being how the universe works. When we look at the world tree as symbol, we see that things are drawn up from below, from the dark, unseen, hidden, and mysterious, condensed and brought up into the light, into the known, named, formed, and understood, only to fall back down and be reabsorbed by that unknown spirit world. This is the sacred cycle shown by the world tree symbol. So our focus is to cultivate an awareness of that dance, of that mystery, and then to enter into active participation with it through the art and skill and craft of spirit flight, which is the foundation of all magical traditions, in my opinion. That ability to cultivate relationships with otherness, right? What better way to do that than to go right to the source? That being said, the trappings, the specifics, the rules, the taboos, and the etiquette that is needed to behave properly in those spaces and not bring problems to yourself, but instead travel there, be well received, and bring back in fullness all of the gifts given in that space so that they can be embodied and fully actualized in this space, is a whole other story, which we will get into. So let me plant the seed of the green realm, kick it around in your mind, but more importantly, as you walk through the world, try to see if you cannot become aware or in one way or another experience the presence of more than, and the presence of other than, the presence of being held and supported by this primordial realm that was the first and the infinite, from which all other realms and all other worlds arise and are held in their mysterious ways. So, a little introduction to the green realm. Trust me, we will be coming back to this topic many, many times over, do some guided journeys, and maybe some more of the animistic anatomy that explores how this all works and how we can work with it. But just know this is the core of our practice as the mystery. So with that, I will send you out into the world as a bead strung upon a strand of spirit. I'll see you next time.